Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Best Investing Money Management channel on YouTube. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the one, the only Ford Motor Company. We're going to be talking about, is Ford stock a buy or should you sell, buy, sell, hold? What's going on with Ford? So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys get anything in value out of this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, ask them down below, guys. So now, roll that intro. Come on, let's jump into it. Alrighty guys, so we are looking at ticker symbol F, also known as Ford Motor Company. Now, looking at the chart, you'll notice this all the way down in here. This right here is that 2020 crash. So this is when pretty much the economy went to a screeching halt and the stock went from $9 all the way down to $3.89. Immediately started getting some buying pressure just because of a lot of stimulus and because of the electric auto space. A lot of money started flooding to there, and that's kind of what we saw. It started hitting some highs here, at $11, $13, $15, and then it hit all-time highs here at 25. Now, during this time, you'll notice that they were doing pretty decent on revenue, right? If you look right in here, you'll see a huge surprise of $660 million. And anytime you have something like that, that's fantastic. Another one here, they brought in, about 24 billion, here 35. So the company was doing pretty decent, right? With some spotty earnings, but overall, the reason why a lot of people were buying this and are still buying this is because of the products that they announced, right? They announced the new Ford Bronco, the new Maverick. They announced a whole bunch of fantastic electric cars, the Ford Lightning, and a whole bunch of other things, right? The new Mustang and everything. So you'll notice that it hit $25 and started selling off like crazy. So kind of what happened, right? If we actually zoom in here, you guys can see that during this time, they announced an earnings and a dividend. So they had a dividend of about 10 cents per quarter. But once they announced this, right, they announced that, and they did not do very good on this earnings. And anytime you have, some sort of spotty earnings, that's never good, right? Anytime you don't do good on the EPS and the revenue, that's just, you're gonna have sell off. And that's kind of what we saw. We saw a lot of investors kind of push out, sell their shares. And then on top of that, if we actually go ahead and we look at just the general S&P 500, you will notice that the past couple of months, we've seen a lot more volatility where just the general market is now selling off. So almost every single company as of right now has gotten a lot of sell-off, and Ford kind of had that perfect storm where they announced a bad earnings and we saw a general sell-off. So kind of that's kind of what's been going on, right? Where Ford announced that, just a lot more sell-off than usual. And then if we go ahead and we go in here, right in here is another earnings, right? Another earnings doing very, very well. This was actually a huge surprise for Ford. Now they brought in about $32 billion and a surprise of $983 million and doing good on the EPS, also known as earnings per share. So anytime you have something, like that as well, that's going to be great. And you will notice that we did get a little bit of some consolidation there shortly after, but just because of the general market selling off, we've seen a lot of Ford stock starting to get some sell off. Now looking at this article, this is Ford outperforms the industry in June. Sales up 31% on the strong F-Series and SUV. And then these are all the other ones. The Ford Lightning is the best-selling truck in June, and the EV vehicle sales jumped 77%. So, and then Lincoln SUV sales up 44%. So guys, Ford is doing very, very well. It's just we've seen a lot of sell-off, but one thing you have to realize with Ford is Ford has a lot of long-term debt. That is the downside of Ford Motor Company. Now, Ford is just under $100 billion in debt. And anytime you have something like that amount of debt, that's going to dilute the company, and that's kind of what we've seen. Not to mention there is hundreds of millions of shares out there because of all the splits and everything that they've had. So here's my answer for Ford. If we go ahead and we look at Ford right in here, okay, you will notice that we got to actually click back. I accidentally clicked it. you'll notice that Ford's price to earnings ratio is at a 3.94. And historically, anytime Ford is under a 5 or even a 10, that is a for sale sign to buy in at a more affordable price, right? Price to earnings, looking at the price of the stock and the earnings, doing very, very well. It is very undervalued. So now would be the time to slowly start buying some. And on top of that, we had this line right here. This line represents the 200 moving average line. And historically, Ford uses it as support when it's above it, like you noticed in here. It hit it right here. We got buying pressure, or resistance when it's below it, right? And we saw it hit there, and we get sell off. But given that Ford stock right now is on it, this for me represents an absolute for sale sign to buy a couple of shares. Now, am I going to go heavy in Ford? Absolutely not. I'll probably keep it under 2 to 3% of my portfolio, dollar cost averaging this thing until probably it hits about $13 to $14 a share, and then I will stop buying some. I think Ford cares a lot of long-term outlook. You have to understand that there's going to be volatility, right? Just as fast as this stock went up, it went down. And you have to understand that, especially with these electric car manufacturers, guys. So guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And if you did, hit that like button, do what you guys do, and we will see you guys later. Remember to stay happy, stay positive, and stay safe. Take care.